Hello, Niver. How are you doing? This is Navos and Bits podcast, and I'm your host, Chizaba Katie. Today, we are going to be doing the second book in the series. This is Glow of the Everflame by Penn. Normally, I shout out to people now per episode. However, I'm just going to repeat the shout out from the previous episode. Shout out to Texi. Thank you for listening to everything I do. Literally, you're that online best friend that I happen to know you physically too. So that's so great. Thank you to the people who are fast becoming my OGs that I'll DM and say, hey, please try this podcast. And they're like, oh, yes, thank you so much for suggesting it. And then both of us would now encounter in that testing when you're both thanking them and they're thanking you back and then they're thanking you back and then they're saying thank you. And it's like, it's so cool. The energy is amazing. So thank you so much. Last week I have not been the strongest in my health. I was able to run some tests and I found out that, it's just because my blood red cells are down. So that means I have to be on a blood tonic, and I've been trying to eat better, but because of that, I've not really been able to promote the podcast as much as possible. But thank you so much, everyone who listens, who tunes in. This means the world to me. Thank you so much. So today we're on Glow of the Everflame. Where we ended things in the last episode, we saw that Diem became queen. The crown chose her. The crown of Lumnos chose her as a new queen. And she's like, yo, how? I don't even have magic, But this is a girl who just kind of shot out like two beams out of her hand up to the sky. And it's so bright and shining. But she's saying, I don't even have magic, okay? And she thinks this whole thing is her hallucinating, like she did as a child. So she starts wading in the sacred waters, the place that she threw all the flame repellor several weeks ago. She's wading in those waters right now to find that flame repellor, to take it so that everything will be okay. Because that flame repellor represented everything Diem hated about her life and the restrictions, but now she absolutely needs it to stop these hallucinations. Tella had to tell her, oh, Diem, I can see the crown. You're not hallucinating. So Diem reaches to touch the crown that's floating above her head, but she can't touch it. She can't feel it above her head. But Tella can't see it, and when he draws close to her, she can't see the light from the crown stars, because the crown, I already explained that it's a vine wound around with stars in between it, sparkling stars. So those stars are reflecting on Tella's face, but she personally cannot feel the crown, okay? But it's that. That's why it's a magical crown. So Diem backs away, and next thing she knows, Lily appears on the bank. And she's holding flowers in her hands. In the last episode, Lily invited Diem and Tella to the palace for dinner. And Diem is like, how about you come to our house instead? That's why Lily came. She came for that dinner and she's meeting this drama. And then she sees the crown above Diem's head. And because it's been schooled into her as a descendant, hey, this is a new queen, Lily automatically bows to Diem. Tella finds himself bowing too, as for, if my crush is bowing, I think I got her, okay? But Diem is like, oh, please, stop. She pulls up her brother. And she's now telling him, I can't be queen. I'm immortal. Tella is like, I don't quite think you are. You are tall. You've always been strong. I haven't seen you bleed since you hit puberty. That's the age descended power start manifesting. That's at puberty. And then at the palace, that one time she bled, it was for Toshan's, that last episode, uncle. He feels that their mom hid this thing to protect her. And the fact that Diem is tan, descended are normally pale, but the fact that Diem is tan must come from her, being exposed to the sun and hard labor, or the flame repellor effect. I feel the tan might wear off over time. Let's just keep going this story, okay? So anyhow, Diem is just like, okay, first things first. How can I take off this crown so people won't keep seeing it? Tella informs her that, hey, you can't hide it until after the rite of coronations. And the rite of coronations is a ritual held on Koiril that has a sacred sea forbidden island at its center. She's thinking to herself, I've never been more grateful that my brother was the one mortal invited to attend Lumnos' prestigious descendant school, making him well-versed in their arcane traditions. Because how else is she supposed to know all these things? Now, the rite is supposed to hold after 30 days of challenging, where anyone who feels the crown holder, that's her, isn't worthy, can dwell her to death and take the crown. So she just can pass the crown to Luther, like she initially wanted to. Like, oh yeah, since everyone has been expecting him to have this crown, can't I just pass it to him? You have to die first. Ah, no way. I don't want to die. All right. And right now, Lily wants to tell Luther because she feels my brother is going to help you. But then Diem's like, no, I forbid you. Please do not tell him. Do not tell him. This crown was initially meant for him. Now he's not telling his reaction. He's probably going to kill me on sight. And at this point, because Diem just had this big fight with her dad, she can't tell him. And she regrets everything she said to him in that heat of the moment. Now she's not like, oh boy, her head is hurting because if everything happening to her is true, mortals would run her out of the village. Guardians would hunt her. Descended will hate her because she's like an unknown appearing in their world. So right now, DM is now where and everywhere. She's now asking herself, will I even live long enough to make peace with my father? So Lily's like, I'm gonna help you. There's a cabin close to the palace where the king normally stays. As queen, palace and everything that belongs to the palace belongs to you right now. So you can stay there. And now this cabin has blood locks. Essentially, only royal blood can open blood locks. And since DM is a new warrior right now, when she uses her blood, like she just pricks a small amount and, puts on the door, it opens. What? That's further confirming she is not hallucinating. This whole thing is real. So she goes into this cabin. It's not a cabin at all. It's very extravagant, but they call it cabin anyway. So she's so cold in the clothes because she just waded in the water, okay? And now she makes a fire. She feels very discouraged right now. Then she now starts mumbling to herself, part of her father's lessons at some point. When all else fails, keep moving. If you cannot run, then walk. If you cannot walk, then crawl. She's waiting for Lily to come back with fresh clothes. So she changes out of the clothes, the wet clothes. She removes them and she wraps herself in a blanket. Even the undergarments are extravagant. Now, these undergarments are extravagant that has a pearl. Why would there be pearls and jewelry in an undergarment? Now, these undergarments are not hers originally. Remember, she was in a fire just the previous night that she saved some guards and then the building collapsed on her head, and then just this morning she woke up at the palace, you get, and she was fine. And Luther is like, hey, could you see my uncle one last time, and then there was the whole kissing thing between her and him, and then she went to the healer center and resigned, and then saw Henry, and then went home, had to fight with her dad, and then boom, she has a crown, and then she's back here to the palace after saying, I never want to have anything to do with these people. Your luck, girl, your luck. So, anyway, this is her. She's right back where she started, and she's like, yo, this has been the longest day of my life. What is happening? What is even happening? Right here in this evening, she's still wearing those things that she was changed to. Eleanor changed her clothes now because all her clothes burned in the fire. So now the undergarments they wore her, it's very nice, too nice. Like, how are people's undergarments this lacy and fine and having jewelry, pearls? How is it even comfortable to wear undergarments like that? So regardless, she's just wondering about this when she hears a clop of a horse. So she opens the door thinking, oh yeah, Lily has come. But it's Luther. And she's like, yo, Lily betrayed me. And Luther is holding the sword and he is angry. She's now thinking, yo, he came to kill me. She now raises her chin to him and now says, kill me with your magic, not your sword. So he pulls the sword away when he's like, what are you even talking about? And then he notices for the first time that he's holding the sword out to her. So he pulls his sword away and now demands to know what happened between you and my uncle in his final moments. She's in undergarments, right? Because she was expecting a girl. So because she's in undergarments, so that means she's like partly naked, like bikini kind of stuff now. So his eyes are trailing down and she's like, yo, my eyes are up here. His eyes has to snap back up. And he now asks her, did you and your mother plan the king's demise? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. She doesn't even know anything about her mother and all of these things. So he now invites her to the palace and tells her, it's better you come to the palace on your own terms. Because if you're here, Saray will come here. She's bound to you right now. And my family automatically see and follow because Saray follows the power of the crown. So better you come out as queen on your own terms. With his magic, he puts out the fire that she built and her eyes are bulging like, yo, how did he just do that? And he now tells her she can do this too. But she tells him, I don't have any magic. He now tells her, it's going to be very wise of you not to say that in front of my family. Now they have to take a horse back to the palace. And this horse is white and has some black between the eyes. The horse seat is extravagant. Gold threaded through the mane of the horse. The horse feels familiar for some reason. So Luther helps Diem up swings and stays behind her. His hands go through her waist to the reins. And that whole drawn against body, body to body. Like the protest she wants to make drowns out because suddenly it clocks to her that I know this horse. This is the horse that Henry described. That horse that a man was riding, that he ran a young boy over and didn't care, that made Henry join the Guardians. This is that horse. So she now thinks to herself, so Luther is that guy that ran that small boy over. Oh my God. So right now she's filled with cold determination that Luther and his horse are murderers. She now thinks to herself that she's going to survive the challenge and complete the rite of coronation and destroy the descendant. So if she's going to be the descendant queen, she might as well use that seat and destroy them for all the evil and all the pain they've caused the mortals. So now, they're barely at the palace. She lifts up the horse. She ignores Luther as he shouts behind her. She calls for Surrey and she feels like she's been doing this forever because she has this instant connection to Surrey. So when Surrey comes to her flying down, the bond is instantaneous. She now asks Surrey, will you fight on the side of mortals for me? She feels like Surrey is going to do so. Now, Surrey's deafening announce of the queen sounds like purring to Diem. Everybody's like, they're scared. But to Diem is like, oh, you're so cute. Okay, that's the moment. Now it's time to meet the family. Luther had initially advised her, hey, do you want to change out of these clothes before you meet the family? Because that would be the wise thing to do. But because right now she thinks Luther is evil and that anything he wants to lead her to is not for her good, she's like, no, why should I listen to you? I want to meet them right now, okay? So now they're going to meet them. But Luther warns again, see, for saving my sister, in meeting my family, do not reveal anything about yourself or the fact that you can't do magic. It comes a time before the door opens to the room where the rest of the Cobwa family are waiting in. He stiffens. The way he stiffens before the door starts opening, that's when it dawns on her that, this guy has actually been relaxed around me. When he started being relaxed around me, I don't know, but he's been relaxed around me. Right now is when he puts on that armor of, hey, I am fearsome Prince Luther, fear me. Now, she now mirrors that his stiffening movement and now thinks to herself, time to claim my throne. They walk into that room. She knows she made a mistake because the family gathered here, the Copper family, they're over 100 descended and they're all wearing finery. It's so beautiful while she's in mud-soaked clothing. They're all watching her. Luther bows to her first, followed by Lily, who's avoiding eye contact. Like, what? My queen is going to be mad. I betrayed her. And then the rest of the Cowboys follow. Now, she thinks herself that she has to make them trust her before she destroys them. She now asks them to stand. That is introductions. Luther's parents, Luther's oldest uncle, Garrett, Luther's cousins, Taran and Amen. Taran is from the other night at the armory. That is just yesterday night. And then there is Alex from the other night too. Then there's Eleanor. And all of them are cold. And she expected nothing less. They're not friendly or warm. Now she sits on the sofa. She's being asked questions. They're asking her to align to House of Cobra so that none from the other house will challenge her to dwell. And they're not asking her that what's her ancestry. So when she says Bellato, Remus doesn't know Bellato. Remus is Luther's dad, but Alex does. Alex, the lady that guided Diem on how to enter the armory before it collapsed so that she could save those guards. Because Alex is in the military. And that increases Diem's fondness of her. That, you actually recognize a mortal who, ascended to the highest level a mortal can hold in the Marian army. For that reason, Diem just feels like fond of Alex for just knowing about her father. Now, Garrett is filled with disdain as per, so you are a half-blood. As per, your mom is mortal. So that means whoever your dad is, he must be the descendant. So Taran and Eliano have to remind him that all descended are half-breed. All descended come from the fact that a kindred person had a child with a mortal person. And boom, descendant is a product. So all of you that are like, we cannot mix with mortals. You people already half-breed. You already half-mortal. What's your problem? Now, without a blood relative on the throne, all of House Kabwa, they're regular citizens. They're no longer royalty, okay? So they're going to be the ones gaining from her if she chooses to align herself to House Copper. But she needs them against the other houses. She's now thinking to herself, okay, once I've found my feet, I'll destroy House Copper and others in Lumnos. So she's doing the whole, okay, I gotta know my enemy game. Now, eventually, the family get tired of her. Basically, like, okay, there's nothing to see here. She's boring, okay? So now they're gradually leaving. Diem now approaches Lily to let her know she's not mad. So they hug. Now it's just Diem and Luther. And she now demands to know where her mom is or what he knows. They're interrupted by Eamon. Eamon apologizes for his dad, calling her half breed. Eamon's dad is Garrett. Oh, you do not like that man. You are not going to like him at all. So, Luther points out that he's actually done the same. There is a strong dislike between Luther and Eamon that is so obvious right off the bat. Eamon now offers to show Diem around. And she accepts, as Luther rejects at the same time. She even flirts with Eamon. Eventually, when the evening is kind of coming to a close, Luther says that he's going to show Diem to her room. Since the king hasn't been buried, Diem is not going to be at the royal quarters for now. She's going to be in a guest room in the royal wing and is right opposite Luther's room. Now, House of Cobra has been the royal family for centuries. The past 5 crowns have all been from House Cobra. That's a dynasty, okay? Now, all the children grew up there, in the palace. When Diem asked him, so how do you feel about this, being House of Cobra, being born here? So he says mechanically, to be raised Cobra is a great privilege. His tone is stiff. He now says, all our children are well cared for and protected with every opportunity provided to them. I am very grateful for those blessings. It sounds like something he has recited to himself so much that he's like, I have to believe this. I so desperately have to believe this. This is the only truth I have to know. There are guards when they come to the room she's going to be staying at. The guards will be there until she aligns with House Cobra or not. If she does align with House Cobra, there are loyal people on her side. Now, Luther was presumed heir. He was trained to be one. And he now calls out their similarity that she was raised to be a healer. So she asks Luther, how do you feel about this right now? That you did not get a crown that you were trained for? He now tells her that he believes he's meant to serve the crown. There's talk about how she's meant to learn magic, defend herself against the descended. She lost her knife this morning. After the whole, she put her knife against his neck this morning and they made out. The knife clattered to the ground. She didn't pick it up, but he picked it up, so he's with him. She uses a mortal sword against him. But because, like I said, mortal swords, regular swords do not affect the sended. It just dimples the skin. Like the way you would have it when something not sharp, when you press it against your skin, it just kind of dimples it in, but it doesn't like have any scratch on it. That's what happens when she uses a normal kind of sword. So he now asks her here, what can I do to get you to trust me? And then she feels very angry. Like, how can you even suggest such a thing? Trust you? It descended. So with that, the voice in her head comes back, fight. She attacks him, but he's well trained. He presses her back up against the wall. And then Surrey, sensing the crown is in danger, tries to break in. I think it's Sarai, that's her name actually. Sarai is the correct pronunciation. Sensing the crown is in danger, she's trying to break it. And then because she's trying to break in, she's like, boom, boom, shaking the palace. It's like, oh, this place is gonna like crumble any moment. So Luther is now telling Diem, call her off or she'll break the palace apart to get to you. Then Diem says, good, let her destroy this place. Luther tells Diem, I'll tell you a degree of what I know if you call her off. So Diem now reaches out to Sarai in her mind. She now enters the room. She now hears Luther talking to the guards in a highly emotional voice. These are guards meant to defend the queen, standing guard outside her room. But the whole moment she was having this whole encounter, altercation with Luther, they were just watching, confused. Because the person that put them on assignment is Luther. But then the same person that put them on assignment is supposedly attacking the person they're supposed to defend. So they did not know what to do. But then Luther is now telling them, I should put all 4 of your heads on a pike for treason. I just assaulted the queen, and you cowards stood there and watched me do it. The next time someone lays a hand on her and you don't kill them where they stand, I'll carve out your eyeballs and feed them to the finhounds. It doesn't matter if it's me or the regent or Blessed Mother Lumnos herself. Do your damn jobs and protect our queen. There's a quiet muffled acknowledgement. This she hears from inside the room. Now she soaks in the bath. There is a knock that wakes her up. She puts on a piece of cloth and opens the door. Luther's eye travels down. This is her again, being half naked, while, Luther comes to see her. Again, she's like, eyes up here. Now, he brings a linen sack and it contains weapons without any jeweled handle. And she now teases him about his sword, that has the jewels and stuff. So he now tells her defensively, it's a family heirloom. She thinks, oh, look at how he's defending it. That's cute. She's happy for the weapons because it's a peace offering. She feels safer with weapons in this place that she doesn't know anybody She doesn't know who to trust. She can't even trust anybody. Her one goal here is win them over and destroy them all, including Luther. So even though Luther is not her friend, he's a means to an end. The only thing she's after right now is destroy the Descendant. He also hands back Breck's knife. That her photoshown still from the morning. When both of them remember how this knife came to be in his possession, there is this electric charge in the air. The moment is heating up like, yo, we did that this morning. So when he's trying to bring up the kids, she slams the door in his face. Like, boom. She's like, yo, she's in a war and he's her prime target. No more, okay? No more. So sometime later, Diem senses someone in the room, and that person is not quiet. Right now, Diem has scattered the daggers around the room, so she pretends to still be asleep, and then attacks unexpectedly. There's a flash of white light that throws her back. The person that was moving around her room, not quietly at all, is Eleanor. And right now, because Diem just went to bed, in that batting towel that she donned on after bathing, and the batting towel obviously came apart while she was sleeping, she is nude. Luckily, Eleanor brought clothes for Diem, and all of it are dresses. And Eleanor knows very well, Luther has already told Eleanor that Diem's preferences are pants, like trousers and stuff, but Eleanor did not bring one trouser. And I think she did this deliberately because I feel like she wants Diem to acknowledge the power of wearing dresses, whatever that is. So when Diem sees all these dresses, again, that history of why she doesn't wear dresses, that she was jealous Stella was so much freer in his trousers. She threw her dresses in the fire because she wanted to wear just trousers. Now, when she grew older, noticing boys, she desired to wear dresses, but she was too embarrassed to try. Eleanor Shah explains that, see, the reason I brought dresses is that they are all I could come up with in such short notice. Diem chooses the simplest dress that has a mouth slit, and she wants to carry weapons. Diem has her first culture shock here, because Eleanor now tells her that, that's it, where you people might wear weapons and it makes you look powerful and protected. When a descended person has weapons on them, it makes them look weak. The lesser you carry, the more powerful you appear. So Dia notices that Eleanor is not wearing any weapons. Eleanor is like, exactly, you have to look like you are not afraid. So Diem says that she's going to carry her weapons though, that she has so much to learn really. So Eleanor offers to teach her, so coldly, because Diem does not trust any descendant. She wants to know, so what do you want out of it? Eleanor now admits that court is what she does well. Where her cousins are the powerful ones that have powerful magic, she's not. She doesn't have much powers. Her powers are just really mild. So Diem understands what Eleanor is saying, how it feels to be placed inside a box. And Eleanor wants to feel useful to someone who matters to her family. That's Diem. So that's why she's like, yo, I can teach you courtly affairs. Diem takes Eleanor's hands and now says to her, Eleanor Cowboy, do you agree to serve as a loyal advisor to the crown on all matters of politics, rumors, unspoken rules, and whatever other embarrassing mistakes I'm surely going to make? Now, this is sweetest girl bond moment. Now, Diem winds up wearing a dagger on her thigh, around her thigh, her leg part, upper leg, and then another in the boots. Eleanor proves useful, helping her dress, doing her hair. Diem cannot recognize herself because, actual curves are showing. And in a dress right now, she feels more naked than actually being naked because this is something she refused to try for so many years because she was embarrassed. So it's like, I should not look like a chicken. Don't I look odd? Eleanor takes her around the palace, introduces her to the workers, tells her about the guards. The four guarding her are actually the best that there are. So she eats in the garden. Eleanor now informs Diem that Luther's magic is actually so powerful that when he was small, he could wipe out buildings in rage. Do you understand? So it now makes her imagine, if you're more powerful than Luther, you must be really powerful. You get. Now, Amon enters to take Diem for the date, because he arranged this the previous night with her, sort of. Now, Luther shows up. Diem feels so self-conscious in her dress. There are flutters in her stomach. Soraya is lying nearby. There's this heat puffs coming out through her nose because she can't breathe fire. Soraya is not over last night either. The whole Luther attack happening, that is Soraya's queen now. So Diem waves Eleanor and tells her that they're going to make what they did a regular occurrence. That's for hanging out in the garden and stuff. So now Diem lives with Amon. She's been drinking. Diem was earlier drinking with Eleanor as they were eating and chatting. That's the scented wine. and it's too strong. Diem is not used to it, so it's affecting her. So she's kind of semi-drunk right now. Now on the walk with Eamon, he's blunt that House of Koboa needs her, that the Ascension Ball is coming up, and he wants Diem to take him to the ball. So traditionally, it's spouses of crowns that go with the crowns to the Ascension Ball. But since Diem is not married, Aemon is not like, yeah, I can go with you. And the Ascension Ball is the day after the king's funeral. It's just 2 days away. Now Diem is panicking. She now blots out that, oh, I have somebody, and she regrets it the minute it comes out from her mouth. And technically, she's not engaged to Henry, but he doesn't know that. It's just her finest excuse out of the whole of her whim. Aemon, calculating eyes, reminds her that half-breed children are forbidden, and she'll be dead too if she weren't the queen. She just tells him, I want to talk to Luther. And the fact that she says this, Aemon now feels a need to create a divide between Diem and Luther by telling Diem, hey, just so you know, Luther is a keeper of laws. He's the executioner of all the innocent children through the years. Diem sees red like, what? So he's the person in charge of actually executing the half-breed children. She walks away. So Sarai lands in her path and says, what is it? What is it? You're angry about my queen. Who do I need to kill? Actually notable is the fact that Sarai doesn't talk. She can't say words, but she and Diem has a connection that Diem can feel what Sarai is feeling and what her intentions are. So it's not like somebody's talking, just like when someone has a dog or a pet. You can feel what they're saying or their body language, or, but even though you can't say they spoke to you, but they said this, you sense their intuition. So Diem knows that Sarai has a blind loyalty to her. That's because Sarai is a slave to the crown. So Diem is like, no, I will not let you do that. So now, and after an hour of looking for Luther and she doesn't see him, her anger has cooled down a bit. She now refuses anyone wanting to talk until there is Lily. So Lily now tells Diem, the thing is here. Because Diem had earlier asked Lily to help her sneak in Teller. They go down to the dungeon. The dungeon has not been in use for centuries, so nobody is kept prisoner there. So they go down to the dungeon. And Teller is shocked to see Diem in a dress. He now tells her that, about the thing you asked me, I haven't found any other way in my books to pass the crown without you dying. So Diem feels guilty that it doesn't upset her. I mean, just last night, okay? Just like last night was like 12 hours ago, 14 hours ago. Diem was like, let this crown be passed away from me. Let me do anything. But right now she's like, it's okay if I have the crown. So Tella is like, yo, what happened to you in 14 hours? What's a drastic change about? Okay. And Diem feels guilty that she's not upset that she has to wear this crown a little longer. But then Tella is like, okay, so what am I going to tell everybody back at home? Luther interrupts and now asks Lily to lock the door behind her next time. Luther now asks Tella if Diem has always been irrationally angry, because Diem is like really angry now. Any small thing, she's like so angry. So Tella says yes, since he doesn't complete what he wants to say, but that's since she stopped taking the flame repellor. But he doesn't say that. I think Luther gets the idea. He doesn't know about the flame repellor stuff. But he just kind of gets the idea that, yes, this anger has been on for a while, this irrational anger. So Luther now explains to Diem that it's a godhood, her godhood wanting to be let loose. That it's amazing that Diem hasn't once used her magic and it hasn't burned her up. He now asks Lily and Teller to leave while he faces off with Diem. They have to fight, but with only magic. Diem resists at first, but she knows she needs this. She used to be happy, but she's become someone angry, bitter, making cruel jokes. She hates this version of her. Now, love fuels strength as well as hate. What she wants is the former, the love fueling strength. So in the process, they are now talking. Luther now says that mortals have their own world, different from the standard, and they're free to do as they want as long as they follow laws. So Diem is like laws that they have no say in. She now tells him that maybe the standard need to lose everything valuable. Luther wants her that, see, you might be queen, but you still bleed. Do you understand? Like, mind what you're saying. Luther now asks why Diem hates him so much. She now tells him you're the keeper of laws, a murderer. He's hurt that she thinks so low of him. He now denies her accusations. He now calls her a liar for denying who she is, for denying their kiss. She's angry. She now snaps at him. And next thing, she's levitated. There is orb, there is light, shadows, vines that look like dripping blood. Like so much magic pouring out of her. Luther has now started constructing shield after shield with much effort, but her magic is just like cutting through it easily. So many things are flashing behind her eyes. She sees grey eyes much like hers, like smiling. When she comes to, she's on her knees. Luther is covered in bruises, his clothes are in tatters, but he's grinning. He now tells her that you're incredible, your powers are incredible, and that's only a tip. So apparently, he annoyed her so much so that she could let loose her magic. That's the godhood that has been constrained inside her that wants to be out. For people with a lot of magic, you have to keep using your magic in small ways, big ways, so that it doesn't accumulate inside you and start disturbing you. The magic wants to be used. But DM has been denying the magic. How will she even know how to use it? So that was the situation that DM was in, okay? So because of that, Luther had to annoy her just long enough for it to just come out of her. As it came out of her, he had to use almost all the reserves of his magic to construct shields so that she doesn't bring down the entire palace with her magic. That's how powerful her magic is. And with how powerful Luther is, her magic was just cutting through it like pium, like it was paper, sandpaper. Do you understand? And he's happy because yes, he suspected this girl is powerful and he's seen the tip of it and he's like, that's good. We can work with this, okay? So Diem with a broken heart now accepts, okay, I'm descended. So that means all my mortal friends are gonna die and I'm going to live on for centuries alone. She accepts to be aligned to House Cobra only if Luther promises to take care of her loved ones, whether or not she makes it through the challenge. He promises. So she pulls away, she goes to her room and she cries. She has expended such a large amount of power, magic. Her godhood is calm because power was released. She now thinks to herself, okay, somehow I have to learn how to use this magic. Now come morning, she's drained to feel emotion. She just staring while sitting. Luther brings her breakfast. He's trying to feed her. He's saying a lot, but she notices she can't feel his magic. And he tells her because he used all his reserves to keep her from collapsing the palace. Okay? Now, she isn't depleted though because he can still feel her magic. She's like, yo, how do you feel? He explains to her that it's only the most powerful descended that can feel under descended's magic and that powerful descended's magic. She truly didn't know her magic until the previous night. She truly didn't know who she was because truly she was born with brown eyes but it turned grey. When she asked him, he's like, no realm has a distinct color of grey eyes. She admits that she told Eamon about Henry, being engaged to Henry and stuff. So there is no judgment in Luther's eyes, but she senses sadness. She sees sadness. He now tells her that he's going to use his persuasion powers to keep Eamon from talking. Now that he's talked about her mother, he wants to know what she knows first. It turns out that Diem actually knows nothing about what her mother has been up to. So he explains to her that there was actually no bargain. The whole bargain about a rally being a healer in exchange that Tella goes to school. There was no such bargain. That it was made up so Raleigh won't look too favored. Another thing was Raleigh was spying on the king. Luther caught her, but let her be because they had a joint goal. He doesn't tell her what a joint goal was. Just giving her tidbits here and there. He tells her that the reason he can't tell her anything is because he promised her mom that she, DM, can punish him, have him exiled, but he keeps his word. Somehow that shows her because just the previous night now, she asked him to make her a promise that, hey, even if I don't make it through the challenge and you watch over my loved ones, right? So saying that, okay, this guy is willing to be exiled, punished, just to keep his word. The fact that he's willing to bear that, she remembers that, okay, so that means he's someone who can keep his word. That means no matter what happens, my loved ones will be safe. Okay. So somehow the scene evolves to them somehow clinging to each other, where she now says that she needs her mommy. And it unlocks some kind of trauma in Luther. So he tells her that I'm going to bring your mom back in 2 months if she doesn't return. That your mom went to a place where mortals are not allowed to go. She dismisses him later. Now with Eleanor on the terrace and Sarai close by, Eleanor is an artist. She's painting Sarai, and Eleanor now fills DM in on the palace news. DM wants to know about important cousins. Aemon has weak magic. His magic is not as strong as Taran's own, that's his younger brother. But Aemon uses wit and charm excellently. However, as much as he can sell gossip to you, Aemon is going to sell your gossip to others. He just wants power. So does Alex, but Alex is willing to work for it. She shadowed her dad, who's a military officer. Lily is the only princess. She's devoted to pleasing her parents, much like Tella. All the more reason why their love story is doomed. So these are just kind of like, as Eleanor is telling DM this thing, she's just kind of summarizing it in her own head. DM is summarizing these things in her own head. So when Eleanor does not touch Luther, DM asks her, tell me about important cousins. And Eleanor does not say anything about Luther at all. DM now has to directly ask, oh yeah, tell me about Luther now. Eleanor now says, I feel he was born aged 1,000 years old. that duty to family always comes first for him. So Diem feels sad. But how come he went against duty to help her mother? She remembers the part of him she's seen that isn't firm and wonders if that part of him is the real side or a well-crafted lie. She just still tells herself, keep your enemies closer. Eleanor is moved to tears to find out that she's Diem's only advisor. She's like, yo, no one has ever believed in me before. Diem understands what it means to be a woman without a voice. And I know now tells her, the Diem Cobber, I'm very glad that you're my queen. So Diem now starts realizing that as queen, she's in a position to change a lot of things if she could survive the challenge. She has a run-in with Remus. Remus is Luther's dad, remember. So Remus is a diplomat to the core, but like his son Luther, he has tails. Also, Remus is the crown regent, meaning that since Uther has been sick for more than 6 months and counting, Remus has been the one sort of in charge of the kingdom, okay? He's the second brother. Gareth is the oldest brother. I think Remus is the youngest brother. Uta is the middle brother also. The Uta that just passed away. Now that DM is having a run-in with him, she's like, yo, this man is a diplomat to the core. But like his son Luther, he has tells. So Remus is now telling her, my son said you were too busy to meet with me today. So she now notices that, Luther must be keeping me away from his father for some reason. Remus welcomes Diem to House Koboa, but the tension in his jaw tells a different story. She now tells him many of my new cousins have been helpful thanks to you. So there's a twitch in his jaw, really, when she says that. So he now continues, as your regent, she now corrects him, as the late king regent, I haven't picked mine yet. He now says to her, if such a happy day comes, as far you may not even be alive to pick your own, so don't be faster than your shadow. He now tells her that the elder Kobo have more sage guardians for you, queen. Diem now replies, only a fool would turn down your guardians, regent. Now, the moment she says that, his tension drops as far, okay, this girl, I can control her. Now, he wants to meet tomorrow to discuss house receptions. There are private meetings with each of the 20 houses. It's the most vital step in avoiding a challenge, and Luther hasn't told her. He feels that if Luther hasn't told me about this, that means he's planning something against me. So after this whole Remus thing, she flees towards the servants' quarters, pretending that she knows where she's going to, because she doesn't want to look more foolish than she already does. Right? Because Luther didn't tell about the house receptions. Why didn't he? Going through the servants' quarter, she overhears two servants gossiping about her. That the guard says that she struggled with the king. The other person now says, if it's going to be so, it was Mary, since everyone knows the king wanted to go since his mate died. That's the first time she's hearing that kind of information. The king has wanted to die since. So Diem hides from them in the mailroom. Now emerges on the other side. Remember, Henry is a mail boy, sort of, in the palace. He's a messenger person. He brings the mail in and out. She hides from this servant in the mailroom, and then she now emerges on the other side of the mailroom, only to bump into Henry. Henry she has not seen since just the previous two days ago, yeah? 2 days ago. It's been 2 days she's been in this palace. 2 days ago was the last time she saw him, and she was like, she quits the Guardians, and he was like, she should watch her back. And right now he's gonna meet her, and she's queen. So how did that happen? You understand? So this is not going to be a very pleasant encounter at all. You people, saddle up your horses because we are about to see something go down, okay? Anyway, I feel like I could keep on going, but I think I'm just gonna stop here today. And thank you so much for listening to Novels and Bits podcast. I'm going to see you in the next episode, neighbor. Bye.